Okay, so today we will be doing the injectable medications for our patient Manny Stickens. In front of me I have the already verified MAR. So I will be starting out by doing my first medication check in the Pyxis. The first medication we'll be administering today is the Practi-Amp 1.7 milliliters intramuscular. So here I have my Practi-Amp. This has 2 milliliters in it, which is enough for us to get the 1.7 that we need. And it is not expired. So here's my expiration date and then Practi-Amp expiration date. Okay. And then next we have insulin R. We need 8 units subcutaneously. So here's our insulin R. This has 100 units per 1 milliliter, and there's 10 milliliters, so that's enough for us to get the 8 units that we need. And it is not expired. Here's the expiration date, and then insulin R. Perfect, and then these are all 0900 drugs. And then next I have my insulin N, which is 12 units subcutaneously. Here I have my insulin N. It's 100 units per 1 milliliter, and there's 10 milliliters, so there's enough in here, and it is not expired either. Expiration date, and then insulin N. Lastly, we have a one-time Practi-Tub PPD 0.1 milliliters intradermal. So here is my Practi-Tub. This is 1 milliliter in here, so that's enough for our 0.1 milliliters, and it is not expired. Expiration date, and then Practi-Tub. All right, so now that we have all of these checked, we are going to take all of our medications and move on to the nurse's station. Here I will be performing my second check, and I'm going to draw up the medication to get ready to administer, and I'm also going to label it. So first we have our Practi-Amp 1.7 milliliters. Here is Practi-Amp. There's 2 milliliters, so that's enough for our 1.7, and it is not expired. Then we have our insulin R, 8 units. Here is insulin R, 100 units per 1 milliliter, 10 milliliters, not expired, so that's enough for us to use. Then we have our insulin N, 12 units. Here's insulin N, 100 units per 1 milliliter, 10 milliliters, that's enough for us. Not expired either. And then I have the Practi-Tub PPD 0.1 milliliters. Here's Practi-Tub 1 milliliter. That is enough for us, and it's not expired. So now I'm going to move on to drawing up the medications in the syringes. So here I have my 3 milliliter syringe, which I'll be using to draw up the Practi-Amp. It is gauged in the 0.1. So it'll be good to get the accurate 1.7 milliliters. So first I'm going to flick all the liquid down from the top of my ampule, and I'm going to get an alcohol swab. Oops, didn't open all the way. There we go. Discard that. I'll put the top of this into my alcohol swab, and I'm going to open this by opening away from me. Discarded that in my shards. Oops. And then that goes in the trash. So in order to get this out of the ampule, I'll be using a filter straw. So I'll get my syringe out and connect that. And now I'm going to draw up 2 milliliters about 2 milliliters because I can use it, and then I'll dispose of any air bubbles or extra medication later. Okay. So now that I have that, I am going to discard of my filter straw and connect it to my needle, which is a 22 gauge needle for our intramuscular administration, and it is a 1.5 inch needle. It's dispose of that. I'm gonna dispose of the excess liquid and air. I'm gonna get the air to the top. Okay, and now I'm going to get it to 1.7 milliliters. Perfect. Okay, 1.7. Perfect. So I'm going to put this back into here, and I'm going to create my label for this before I dispose of the ampule. So on my medication label, I'm going to write the name of the drug, which is Practi-Amp. I don't know where my better writing utensil went. Sharpie. Oh, there it is. All right. Okay, so Practi-Amp. And this is 1.7 milliliters. It is intramuscular and it expires to 2029. All right, so here is, oops. Here's my label for my Practi-Amp. Now I'm going to put it onto my syringe, and also note that I do not cover the line so I can maintain the accurate reading of medication. All right, so that's our Practi-Amp. Now I'm going to move on to both insulins. For my insulin, I'm going to be using this 50-unit syringe. And I need 8 units of insulin R and then 12 units of insulin N. So that's 20 units total, which will be good to use the 50 units. So first I'm going to roll the insulin in my hands. Oops. Okay. And I'm going to take out my syringe, take the lid off. I'm going to pull up to 20 milliliters. Okay, I'm going to remove the caps from my insulin. I'm going to wipe the tops of them for about 30 seconds each before I take out the medication. It's been 30 seconds. It's been 30 seconds. Okay, now I'm ready to drop the medication. First, I'm going to insert air. I'm going to do 12 units of air into the insulin N. Okay, and then I'm going to do the rest 8 units into my insulin R. Now I'm going to draw up 8 units of my insulin R. Okay, and then I will do the rest 12 units of my insulin N. Perfect. So here is my 20 units of insulin. Perfect, and I'm going to recap I'll place it back in here while I write the label. I disposed of my ampule in the sharps. So, now I'm gonna make the label for my insulin. So, I did insulin R, 8 units, subcutaneously, and then it is not expired on 02/2029. Then insulin N is 12 units subcutaneously, and then this is also 02/2029. Not expired. Okay, so here's my label for insulin. Oops. I wrote SP subcutaneous. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to put my label onto my vial, and again, maintain accurate reading so I will not cover the lines, whoops, that I need. Ah! Beautiful. All right, so that one is ready as well. I can dispose of that. Finally, I'll dispose of these per my facility's guidelines, or actually put those back in the Pyxis. Now I'm going to do the Practi-Tub, PPD 0.1 milliliters. So here are the Practi-Tub. I'm going to be using a 27 gauge 1/2 inch needle for this. So I'm going to open up my Practi-Tub, and then I will clean off the top of it for 30 seconds. Okay, 30 seconds. And I'll take my needle out. And I need to draw up 0.1. Okay, now I'm going to put it in here and insert it, and then I'll draw up 0.1 mils of medication. There is a bubble that does not want to come out. Okay. There we go. 0.1. 0.1 milliliters. All right. Now I'm going to recap this without touching it, and I will make my label for this. All these labels are made using the triangle method as well. So this is Practi-Tub, Practi-Tube, and it is intradermal. I did 0.1 milliliters. Okay, and it expires on February of 2029. All right, so there's my label for that. Oops. Good. Okay, and again, I'll put this on the syringe and keep in mind that I need to make sure I can still read how much is in there. Whoops. Okay, and then I will keep all those medications. Okay, so now that I have all my medications ready and drawn up, I can go ahead and move to the patient's room. So I'll have all of my medications in here and ready to insert. Okay, and now I'm going to go to the patient's room. All right, so I go knock, knock, knock. Hello, my name is Delaney. I'll be your student nurse today. Can we go ahead and start by saying your first and last name, please? Okay, Manny Stickins, and your birthday? 12/15/XX. All right, perfect. MRNs match. All right, and then I see that you have an allergy bracelet on. Can you tell me what you're allergic to? Penicillin? Okay, perfect. I do see that in your chart, so working on that. Okay, and so we are going to start. I'm going to go ahead and just put some gloves on really quickly. Okay, so I'm gonna check my medications one more time before I give them. So I have, where is my Practi amp? That's insulin. Here. Oops. Here's my Practi amp. 1.7 milliliters, 1.7 milliliters intramuscular. So it's not expired. And there is 1.7 in here. Now I'm gonna go to my insulin. Both insulin R and N are in the same syringe. 8 units of R, 12 units of N, neither are expired. Then I have my Practi tub intradermal, 0.1 milliliters, Practi tub intradermal, 0.1 milliliters, not expired. Okay, so now I'm ready to administer my syringes. First I'm gonna start with the Practi amp. And I'm going to insert this into the right ventral gluteal. So I did my placements, and now I'm going to clean the spot that I'm going to insert the medication into for about 30 seconds. Okay, I'm gonna let that dry. I'm gonna get my syringe ready. And then, oops. I'm going to pull the skin taut. And then I'm going to insert the needle at a 90-degree angle. And then I'm going to aspirate to make sure that I have it intramuscular. Looks good. And then I'm going to inject the medication. Okay. So I'm going to dispose of this in my shards container. I'm going to apply gentle pressure, but not massage it. And then I would dispose of that tissue, but I only have one, so I'm going to use it again. Then I'm going to do my insulin. And my insulin I'm going to do in the stomach. I'm going to remember to keep it 2 inches away from the umbilicus. So for the insulin, I'm going to clean the area for about 30 seconds again. Let that dry. I can pinch about 1 inch, so I'm going to go in at a 90-degree angle again, and then insert the medication. Perfect, and dispose of that from my shards. Lastly, and I'll put pressure on that, but not massage it. And that was on the right lower abdomen. I'm gonna reuse this again. Usually I would discard it, but I only have one. So then I'm going to do my Practi-Tub intradermal medication. So this is, I'm going to go just underneath the first layer of skin, and I'm going to insert it at a 5 to 15 degree angle. I'm going to insert it on the left forearm, actually. So clean the area for about 30 seconds. Let that dry. Get my needle ready. And then here I'm going to insert the needle, bevel up about 1/8 inch into the skin. Okay, and then I'm going to insert the medication in here. I'm looking for like a bevel or a blub, a little bump under the skin. Perfect. Then I'm going to dispose of that for my shards and apply pressure there. So for that, the nurse or doctor, or it will probably be a nurse, will come back and read the results in about 48 to 72 hours. And that concludes our injectable medications. So I'm going to make sure that the bed is at the appropriate height, lowered to how you like it. The side rail is up. I'm going to make sure you're comfortable and give you the call lights. And then really quickly, I'm going to document that I have given you these medications. So the Practi-Amp was an 0900 drug, and I did it in the right ventral gluteal. Okay, and then the insulins, I injected both of those into the right lower abdomen. Okay, and then I can go ahead and cross all of the Practi-Amp because we're only doing that once a day. And then I'm going to cross out the Practi-Tub. And I did that on the left arm. Perfect. Now I'm going to go ahead and sign at the bottom and then do my credentials, SNSCC, and an initial. And here is my completed documentation. All right, and then I made sure my patient was comfortable and we are all good, and I'm good.